You may have noticed how often well-being gets mentioned, in adverts for the gym or scented candles, in discussions of health and social care, in political manifestos. Some people think this is a big con, just a marketing ploy, or to distract us from austerity. Others welcome it as a sign of a new and different orientation, a call to attend to the quality of living instead of always being concerned with getting and having. I think there's something to be said on both sides, but what really intrigues me is something else. The idea that all these references to well-being may perhaps reflect an underlying anxiety that all may somehow not be well, and that whatever is at the root of that anxiety somehow, like well-being, crosses ideas about who we are in ourselves and what we want to do through policy. I've written a paper called Relational Wellbeing, which tries to explore this idea. I talk about relational well-being because I believe that the root of that anxiety has to do with changes in patterns of relationships. Looking historically, we can see that the space for community and society has increasingly been eroded by the expansion of the state and especially the market. Now that capital is global and mobile, it requires a flexible labour force, free of the kinds of social and geographical ties that we used to take for granted. This has a paradoxical effect on how we think of ourselves. On the one hand, we feel like sovereign individuals who can continually reinvent ourselves. On the other, we feel fragmented, looking to a growing number of experts to tell us how to live our lives. The reality is, as we can see from looking at babies and young children, that we become who we are only in relation to one another. We only learn what we want to say when we engage in conversation. How well do the main policy approaches to well-being address this problem? While they all agree that relationships matter, they tend to see relationships as something that individuals have, rather than seeing interaction and relationality as making individuals who they are. If we are to address the root problem, we need instead to take a relational approach to well-being. This has three key dimensions. First, it means seeing people as relational selves. So to understand their behaviour, you need to locate it in their interaction with others. Second, such interaction is not just free, but shaped by societal structures. It makes a difference, for example, whether you're a man or a woman, black or white, rich or poor, old or young, and where and when you are born. It makes a difference what economic model and policy structures you're working within. The third aspect of relational well-being is that the human and social world is embedded in the physical and natural environment. We therefore need to recognise the central importance of the interaction between people and planet. So why does all this matter? As an academic, of course I think it is important to get the thinking right, that if our being is grounded in relationship, then we need an idea of the self that reflects that. But it also has practical implications. Climate change is an obvious example of how we live in an interconnected system in which policies or behaviour that seem quite unrelated, in fact interact in complex ways. If we want to understand how change happens, and if we want to make a change for the better, we need to look at the system in motion, to focus on the dance, not the individual dancers. Politically also, at a time of rising nationalism, when the building of walls serves as a dominant political metaphor, it is vitally important that the way we think about well-being leads to a more social and inclusive vision and practice. My name is Sarah White and I work at the University of Bath. I hope you read the paper and I hope you'll join the conversation. It is published in Policy and Politics in April 2017.